Before we begin, just a quick disclaimer. Netease is making some changes to Psylocke in an upcoming patch. I'm going to cover those nerfs in this guide, they will be included. But it's important to understand the changes do not affect how you play her. Her core mechanics, her ability flow, how she works, overall playstyle, it all remains the same. And that's what this guide's here to teach. So with that out of the way, let's break down everything you need to know how to be the best Psylocke player you can be. Psylocke is easily one of the deadliest assassins in Marvel Rivals. She's fast, precise, and absolutely brutal if you know how to use her. So in this guide, I want to break down to everything you need to master her, from clean one-shot assassinations to some advanced combos and some escape tools you're probably not using enough, because her kit is way deeper than it looks. There's a lot to know. There's more than one way to one-shot or apply pressure, and when played right, she is a nightmare for support, squishies, and even frontliners. And once I walk you through her full kit, how every part of it just synergizes, you'll start to see just how ridiculous her potential really is. And with all that information, my goal is to help you become the best Psylocke player you can be. And what's strange is that despite having like some of the highest burst damage in the game, she's still sitting in the middle of the pack as far as usage. I don't know why, because Psylocke definitely isn't mid, not even close. I genuinely don't understand why most people aren't using her. That's why you should. I hope to show you what she's truly capable of. Let's start with her passive. It's not officially labeled as one, but it's tied directly to her primary attack, and it's one of the strongest mechanics of the game. I mean, I call it Sonic Flow, because the passive nature of what it's doing makes it pound for pound one of the highest value mechanics in Marvel Rivals. I mean, it's offering massive reward for almost no effort. Once you understand how it works, what you need to be doing, it supercharges everything Psylocke can do. So how it works: it's built right into her Psionic Crossbow, her primary attack, which we'll cover fully in a moment, but when she shoots her primary, there's crossbows on both arms. Her left arm shoots 2 volleys, back to back, boom boom. Then she switches to her right arm, 2 volleys back to back. So left arm, right arm, each volley has 4 projectiles, so a total of 8 projectiles come out, and then she goes to the other arm. Now, here's the key. Every hit with her primary attack reduces all of her ability cooldowns by 0.25 seconds. Well, each volley has 4 projectiles, 4 shots. If you land all 4 of those on an enemy, that is 1 full second shaved off of every cooldown each. Right after that is the second volley. Land all those, that's another second shaved off. So in just 1 full crossbow, all 8 projectiles land 2 seconds off of every cooldown just passively by landing her shots. That's it. No crits required, no special conditions, just aim and connect. And the kicker is her cooldowns really aren't that long in the grand scheme of things compared to other characters. I mean, even her longest one is 15 seconds. It comes back so fast, and all you're doing is just landing shots consistently. That's what I call the Sonic Flow. It just flows. Even right here, I spent both dashes, the Shurikens, the stealth. All of her abilities are used up and are on cooldown. Well, just start landing shots. All of them come back so fast. And she fires quickly. It's kind of insane. This quietly powers her entire kit. Like I said, it flows through it. And once you know that, you can capitalize on that and play around it. And you're going to realize how much faster and deadlier Psylocke becomes, and really is. Her primary attack is the Psionic Crossbow. Unleash bolts with Psionic Crossbows to damage enemies and reduce the cooldowns of all of her abilities. She has 16 ammo. As we discussed, she shoots a back-to-back shot, each with 4 bullets, so 8 total. Then she switches to her other arm and does it again. There's a lot to pay attention to with this attack. First, each volley follows a fixed triangle pattern, with 1 bolt centered. But here's the thing, if you aim too high, like at the head, you'll miss bullets because of this spread. So that's why you should be aiming for mid-mass. Ideally, upper chest and neck, because when you do that, in the best case scenario, the top and center projectiles hit the head, the other 2 hit the shoulders. And of course, this is going to depend on distance. And the further you are away, the more mid-mass you need to be shooting. Because crits are nice, but what's more important is landing every single bolt. And I wanted to bring a lot of attention to that in the previous section. This little passive that she has. Her kit rewards consistency more than high-risk crits. And there's a little built-in safety net for the critical hits, the headshots. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But each bolt deals 12 damage to the body, so 1 full volley is 48 damage. The full burst, back to back, 8 bolts, 96 damage. That's really good for body shots. And that means her full magazine is 768 potential damage. That's just all body shots. For comparison, Hela deals 70 per shot. She does a lot more to the crit, but she has 8 rounds. If she hits all body shots with her ammo count, that's 560. So yeah, Psylocke's just raw DPS is serious. She shoots fast, she can lay down a ton of damage. And in Psylocke's case, remember, landing all shots of a volley gives you a full second off of your cooldowns, 2 seconds if you land all 8. That is your priority, number 1 priority. Because of the spread, you're gonna land crits, headshots from time to time. But here's that safety net I was talking about. Psylocke has a 150% crit multiplier. not the usual 2 times. So she deals more headshot damage than other heroes. It's just a special thing that she has. So each headshot projectile deals 30 damage. If you land a perfect volley to the head, that's 120 damage. Both volleys, that's 240, and that's cool. But because of her spread, the distance that you need to be, unless you're hugging them right on top, it's not likely. More realistically, in a perfect world, you're going to land 2 crits and 2 body shots per volley. Again, the top and middle, those hit the head, the other 2 hit the shoulders. If you do this, 2 crit, 2 body, it's 84 per volley, 168 per full burst. And that's still brutal. Don't even really worry about that. Just kind of focus on landing mid-mass, and it's all going to make sense as I keep going. The firing interval between each little volley is 0.2 seconds, and an interval of 0.6 between each round of shooting. And with how her kit works, you have this spread. Fall-off begins at 15 meters, decreasing to 60% at 30 meters. And laid out, that means up to 15 meters, she's going to deal max damage. From 15 meters to 30 meters, damage is going to gradually decrease. At 30 meters, it drops to 60% of the original damage. So at 30 meters, each projectile is only going to deal 7.2 damage. But importantly, at 10 meters, her crosshair spread radius becomes 0.2 meters. They added that. So that means your grouped accuracy really drops past that. It's kind of built to keep her mid to close range. But don't get that twisted. She can still poke at range. She's really good at it, especially flyers. I mean, even 28 damage a volley adds up when you're harassing them from below. That's something you will be doing. But the flow of her primary shot, this crossbow, your sweet spot is 15 meters and in. 10 meters is ideal, and the goal is simple. Land every bolt, every projectile. That's going to lead to keeping your cooldowns just flying and going fast, and that's going to lead to chaining her entire kit. The other abilities, which we're about to get into. This is what makes her deadly, so keep landing your shots, and Psylocke becomes relentless. The wing shurikens are Psylocke's right-click ability, or left trigger on controller. When activated, she launches a volley of psionic shurikens that stick to enemies, dealing damage and granting her bonus health. You press the ability again, or wait out the timer, the shurikens recall back to her. This is Psylocke's most important ability, by far. It's her deadliest tool and the centerpiece of her entire kit. It combos into everything. It deals a ton of damage. I'm going to break down the mechanics here, but know that there's a ton of combos that you can use this with. I'm going to go over later in the combo section. This ability has an 8-second cooldown, but it's rarely that long. As long as you're landing those primary shots, the cooldown is fast. You'll see 8, then 6, then 4, and so on. It comes right back. When fired, the shurikens can travel 25 meters. They travel at 120 meters a second, but a key detail is that max damage is only dealt 15 meters and in. Beyond that, the damage starts to drop off significantly. At 25 meters, you're only getting 80% of the damage. So you want to be inside that 15 meter sweet spot, just like her primary, ideally 10 and in. And this is also just reinforcing her kit that that's where you need to be. These shurikens have 2 phases, and understanding both is critical. The first phase is the launch. You fire 5 shurikens, and they're in a square pattern. Instead of a triangle, it's a square. And there's also a projectile in the middle. So this is the same deal as your primary shot. You want to be aiming middle body so you can land all of them. If you aim high, aim for crits, you're going to miss projectiles. You're also going to be close, 15 meters and in, so the spread's tighter. Now, each shuriken deals 8 damage on impact, so there's a total of 40 damage if they all land. And where it gets even better, each shuriken that sticks to an enemy that you landed gives Psylocke 10 bonus health. So that's up to 50 bonus health if you just land that full set. That's burst damage and survivability in one go. So after the launch, the second phase kicks in, the recall. You're gonna have a 3-second window to recall them, or they're just gonna naturally auto-recall. This is what got changed, and it's not bad at all. They changed the return shuriken damage from 14 to 12. On their way back, each shuriken deals 12 damage. If all 5 hit on return, that's 60. It was 70, now it's 60 damage. Overall, in total, you're looking at 100 damage from the launch and recall, and you get 50 bonus health. That's a 150 point swing if played correctly. So the nerf is a total of 10 damage to the overall attack, launch and recall. It's 100, not 110. It's still great. But here's something a lot of Psylocke players overlook. It's something that you need to start implementing in your game. The recall path is dynamic. When you recall the shurikens, they first fly in the direction of your crosshair, wherever you're aiming. Then, from your crosshair, they curve back to Psylocke, and this opens up some incredible plays. You can shoot one target to land the initial damage, then flick your crosshair to a different target, and hit the recall while aiming at them. The shurikens will damage the second target as they return, so that's 60 recall damage to an entirely new enemy. You right-click one target, right-click again on another, it's beautiful. And also when you throw out these winged shurikens, if you miss, they're either going to get stuck into an object like a wall or whatever structure's there, or if you're in open space, they're just going to stick in midair. If this happens, it's still viable, but you're still going to have this part to do. If that initial throw whiffs, just keep your crosshair on the enemy that you want and hit recall, because wherever those shurikens started, they're coming to the crosshair, then back to you. So they're going to hit the target that you're aiming at. And this makes it flexible, makes it powerful, and very forgiving. So you need to understand how this works. Most of the time, you're going to be hitting the same target on both throw and recall. You're going to shoot it with your primary, in between, launch them, recall them. But if there's a lot of enemies, or especially two supports, don't be afraid to switch things up and utilize some of these nuances, because you can land it on one enemy, deal that initial burst, throw primary shots on them, then start throwing primary shots on another, recall it on the other, and you're just spreading out a ton of damage. And in that path, if there's multiple enemies, it's going to hit all of them. It has the ability to give you multi-target pressure that few abilities in the game can replicate, especially with how fast you get this thing. Before I go on to the next ability, there's also another major mechanic you have to understand right now. When you use these winged shurikens, it cancels your primary fire. It's like what people do with Doctor Strange, and it drives me nuts. They shoot once, they throw out the shield, shoot once, throw out the shield. His primary is a 5-shot burst, but when you spam the shield in the middle, it cuts off projectiles mid-shot the moment that shield's put up. So only 1 or 2 projectiles, maybe 2 or 3, are going to come out instead of the 5 that it's designed to do. So you're dealing 32 damage instead of 80. It drives me nuts. Psylocke works the same exact way. If you use this winged shuriken ability while your double volley is coming out, it cuts the attack short, period. It cuts off the moment you press Ring Shuriken, and that means you lose damage, but importantly with her kit, you're losing your cooldown reduction. It's just a bad deal, and I see a lot of players holding primary and just spamming Wing Shurikens, just right when that cooldown's available. Do not do that. You're actively losing value. Instead, let the full primary attack go out, and it's just a split second after that second volley. Once you see that second volley come out, you can do the impact and recall. You can use your primary, boom, boom, right as you hear that second boom, then you can combo it. Once you get the timing down, it becomes second nature, and there's a reason that they added a 0.6 second delay between for switching arms. Respect that window, use that window, that's why it's there. Like, here's the difference between just spamming randomly compared to properly placing that attack after the second volley. That's when you want to throw it, right after that second volley comes out. And it's the fastest way to get downs. It's also your bread and butter combo. You primary fire once or twice, so 2 volleys or 4, then sneak in the swing shuriken, and then recall it. It's simple, clean, extremely effective. Again, more in the combo section, but for now, practice this. Master the timing, because I believe that this ability really separates the average Psylocke from great ones. It's the fastest way to down an enemy. Now let's talk about the Psi-Blade Dash. It's another core part of her kit. When you activate it, Psylocke dashes 12 meters forward, slicing through any enemies in her path with her sonic blades. Each enemy that she passes through takes 50 damage. So if you light it up through multiple enemies, each one's going to take a hit. It's fast, it's clean, and it's lethal when used right. You get 2 charges, each with a 12-second cooldown. And with the theme, landing primary shots significantly reduce these cooldowns. So if you're actively pressuring enemies, you get your dashes back quickly. This dash has a special interaction with the winged shurikens. If you've already thrown them, and they're either stuck in an enemy or just floating in midair, using your dash will automatically trigger the recall. And the twist, the dynamic with this, is the shurikens don't come straight back to you like normal. Instead, they take a unique path. They fly back to the starting point of your dash, where you launched from, then they curve towards Psylocke's new position, where she ended up after the dash. And this recall arc can have some surprising possibilities. You're essentially bending the path of the shurikens, letting them slice through multiple targets more than before, and it can hit multiple enemies that you aren't originally aiming for, just randomly. It's a subtle mechanic, but in the middle of a chaotic team fight, it gives you some creative kill setups and pressure options just to do a lot of chip damage. The main application of this special dash, and I encourage you to use it, I'll cover it again in the combo section, is you're going to shoot the shuriken on an enemy, then create an angle to form a path to that enemy through another. So when you dash, it immediately recalls to where you started your dash, which is right in front of a new enemy. Right when you dash, it recalls, with the new recall damage, dealing 60 to the initial target, 60 to the new one that you've created an angle for, and each one also gets 50 damage from your dash. So each target is inflicted with 110 damage, and the main target is actually hit with 158. It's really good like this. Look to be doing this. It's an awesome combo, and it's going to be covered in the combo section. Be that 10 meters and in, stick someone with the Shurikens, get some primary shots, be moving around to try to find another enemy that gets in between you, then dash them both. For most situations, the dash in general is used for chip damage or finishing off low health targets because it hits for 50. You can kind of time that final blow or just use it to cut through enemies safely, get to areas. I mean, the 12-meter range also lets you close a distance pretty quickly. If you want to go even further, this is also your main mobility tool. If you angle it up slightly, do a jump then dash, you can actually extend your movement to just over 20 meters. And this allows you to reposition vertically on a ledge, get to areas faster, reach high ground. You could use it off spawn. It is great for getting back to fights faster, but there's a trade-off with that. If you burn one or both dashes getting into position of a team fight from your spawn, once you get there, you need to immediately start hitting your shots. You need to get to work. That way you get your dashes back to use or for when you go on your assassination quest. And that's why I personally avoid using it off spawn unless the situation calls for it. Like you need to rotate quickly in overtime, or you need to peel for supports, or you need to rush and punish a critical target. And it's also great against dive. Some of the popular dive characters. Spider-Man, once he hits you with his web, you see him coming in, just dash at him. When you do that, you deal damage, you go through him, and he misses the combo. You just kind of sit there. Same with Black Panther. You make them miss their spear, and once BP has no cooldowns, he's a sitting duck. So while it's fast, stylish, and deadly, like don't let it go to waste. It's about intentional usage. It's mobility, it's burst, or utility. Try to master the timing, the pathing, especially with the Shurikens involved. It becomes one of our most dangerous tools. Her final ability is Psychic Stealth, and it's one of her most versatile tools. It got a nerf, but its function is still the same. It used to be in stealth for 3 seconds, now it's 2. When you activate it, Psylocke enters stealth for 2 seconds and gains a 50% movement boost, taking her from 6 meters a second to 9, so she's a lot faster. The ability is on a 15-second cooldown, but like everything else in her kit, landing primary attacks reduces that significantly. While in stealth, if you take damage, you don't exit stealth immediately. Instead, she's going to flicker. She's going to become briefly visible, so enemies can track her if they're paying attention, but only for a moment. You use this ability 2 ways, offensively and defensively. Offensively, it's about positioning. Your entire kit revolves around getting within 15 meters, ideally 10 meters and in. You want to be close, and this ability lets you get there without being seen, like a true assassin. And that first method is just classic stealth play. You use this ability to slip past the front lines or get around angles to get behind the enemy. Supports and DPS are your targets, and once you're in position, you start unloading your combos. Confirm the elimination, and then dash away.
Judge, jury, executioner!
And as I've stated in all my guides, heroes like this, the escape plan is everything, whether it's Hulk, Iron Fist, Thing, whatever. You always have a way out. You need to have an exit plan. So this first way is to use stealth to get in and you dash away. The second method flips that. Instead of using stealth to get in, you're going to use cover or maybe a dash to surprise them, get close to them. You're going to do your damage, try to get your downs. The exit plan is to dash up and away, then go into stealth. You're going to fly up into the air and out of sight. So either stealth in or stealth out. And that leads defensively with just pure survival. Maybe you're overextended, maybe you're stalling for a health pack, maybe you're hiding in a building and the enemy team starts collapsing in on the building. You use your stealth, disappear, and get out. You kind of live to fight again. But use this constantly. It's a great tool. I mean, for dives, escapes, repositioning, buying a few seconds, it's flexible. And you're going to learn it to pair with your dashes, get more distance. It becomes one of the safest and most reliable tools in her kit. It's also one of her main ways to get her assassinations off. She has a new team up with Emma Frost, Psychic Echoes. When you press the button, you form a duplicate illusion in the enemy's perspective and it confuses them. It moves and casts abilities on its own. It was so good, this is the last nerf for her. They reduced the proportion of damage caused by the illusions from 30% to 20%, and it's a slight damage nerf, but in the end, it's still fine. This is on a 30-second cooldown. When they do attack, your illusion has 150 health, and the duplicate damage reduction is now 80%. While the illusion's out there, it's only for a couple seconds it goes away. The clone's still dealing good damage because you yourself deal great damage. You're adding more because the illusion's there with you. On a 250 health target, all you need to do is shoot it once, boom boom, then throw the wing shurikens, left click, right click, right click. It almost downs 275, so after all these nerfs, this is still going to be fine. She dashes with you, but one of the most important things is to always try to land wing shurikens, because that's 2 of them coming out and recalling. Very good to single out priority targets and get it down. And also you want to use this right before you ult, because as you're ulting, the illusion just sits there and literally hits crits as you're doing your ult. She doesn't miss the head, just aimbots crits. So a little bit of chip to the targets within your ult field. This is a great ability. It can confirm assassinations for you. Her ultimate is Dance of the Butterfly, and it's great. When you pop it, it's got a 10-meter spherical radius. That means she can go up in the air on flyers by herself. Once popped, it lasts for 4 seconds. She rapidly slashes around in that 10-meter sphere. She lands 2 hits per second, so there's a total of 8 hits over this duration. Each hit deals 150 damage, so if all 8 connect on a single target, that's a potential of 1200 damage. Regardless, 1200 damage is dealt to the area as long as she's landing hits. It's going to be spread around if there's multiple targets. There's a special mechanic tied to how she chooses her targets during the ultimate. At first, she just targets a random enemy within range. Then she prioritizes enemies who have been hit the least. This means she kind of spreads her slashes around as evenly as possible and avoids focusing one target unless they're alone. So if you ult into a group of enemies, everyone's going to take damage, but no one is going to get just deleted fast unless they're already low. So ideally, you pop this in groups of 3 or less. With how the slashes and the damage work, it's best 3 and less. If you go into a full team, sometimes that's beneficial. Everyone's going to take 150 chip at least, but it's going to be best on focusing on their little support group. A couple healers are together, things like that. Maybe a DPS is with them, because if there's only 1, 2, or 3 enemies, they're going to take more focused hits, and this is how you get your downs and your isolated picks. Or even a tank or 2. It will melt a tank away. Again, it's 1200 damage, and if there's 2 tanks, they're each getting 600. It's not a press to win 1v5 tool, but it's very deadly. It is great for disruption, great for teamfight pressure, makes enemy strategists pop their ult, is really good at finishing off weakened enemies all at once. You want to be focusing on the supports though. Watch out for Adam Warlock, watch out for Loki runes. Try to down them before you ult because they'll either soul bond or they'll rune. Otherwise, it's fantastic. And one more thing, the safest way to get this ult off. It does have a wind up. So if you just walk in or dash in and are lazy with it like I am right here, you can get picked off, and it can happen. It will happen. So instead, dash high into the air above them and then press the ult button. If you press the ult button mid dash, it kind of takes away that little wind up that she does, and she starts going to town. And she doesn't care if she's in the air. She just warps to a target. Bare minimum do this, but the safest way is to go invisible, go stealth, dash up into the air above your enemies, and press the ult button. That's how you want to do it. Psylocke has a lot of combos, but let's focus on the important ones. This is all updated with the new damage values after some of the nerfs. And before we begin, every combination can end with a dash or a melee. That's your finisher. The dash adds 50 damage, and it puts you in a position where your enemy has to track you. It's very good. And the melee, I believe, is just 35 damage. Use them when you see someone low. Keep that in mind throughout this section. Like right here, I dash up to the Spider-Man, get close, deal damage. I see their health bar. I just use a melee finisher because it's there. And also, all these combinations are body shots only. You're going to aim mid-body, that way you land all the projectiles so you get the fastest cooldown possible. Headshots are nice, but not required. The universal combo is primary, wing shuriken, launch and recall, primary. So left click, right click, left click. Very easy. The damage is 96, 196 for 292. If you add in a dash, it's 342. It's your bread and butter. It is always solid. And the dash is important because if you miss a volley, you deal around 240 damage. So whether it's a Luna Snow or a Moon Knight, you use the dash to finish. And remember, after that second volley, wait it out. Wait that split second, then recall. That timing matters for the flow of the combo. And you're not cutting any volleys short. The second combo I want to show you is the half health finisher. When an enemy is around half hit points, don't overthink it. All you're going to do is primary spam until they're around 50% health. You launch that shuriken recall and a dash because that's a 150 damage combo. The launch recall dash is 150. And we miss shots, people move, there's healing, but you're just going to be spamming that primary, looking at their health bar. As soon as you see it get around half, a quick launch recall and dash. It's honestly one of the better things to do. It's really good. The third combo is a stealth assassination, and this is for picking off someone clean. While you're in stealth, even if it's out in the open, like right here, you walk up and you're gonna shuriken launch right on top of them. Your whole goal is placing her most important attack, these wing shurikens, and by doing this, you're guaranteeing it. You're basically reaching your hand out and placing them. After you do that, you become visible, but who cares? All the things within her kit you do at that moment. It could be recall, primary, dash. Could be primary, dash. Dash, then primary them down, whatever you want. But that opening shuriken is the most important part. It's 100 damage guaranteed, and the rest is just going to follow naturally. Then you get out. And the last one is multi-target pressure. You're not always going for kills. Sometimes you're just trying to spread damage. You just be primarying one enemy, stick the wing shurikens into them, then recall through a second enemy, meaning you just aim at a second enemy and recall. And this is going to chip 2 enemies at once, punishes group targets, especially all the ones in between, and you're going to add a dash if anyone walks in between you and your main target like we talked about earlier. You have that 3-second window. All of Psylocke's combos are just different variations of the same core tools, so you can mess around with it. But once you understand how to mix in your primary shurikens and your dash, you'll start seeing those windows open everywhere. In the end, you can stick to that universal combo combo. Keep it simple, land your shots, always be ready to finish with the dash. The more you play her, the more second nature that's going to become. Psylocke is very fun to play. She's a burst assassin, she's built for hit and run engagements, she's in and out. She thrives in chaos, she punishes mispositioned targets, and she deletes low health enemies before they can react. She's not really a brute force brawler. She can be. If you bring it out of her, like right here, this Thor, I just keep doing the combo over and over, and it's a big target. I'm landing and getting my cooldowns fast. When he gets close to me, I just dash through him. He's always on the back foot. But that's not really what you're trying to do. It is there, though. You're going to be playing her with discipline and intent, because she's ideal for backline harassment. Everything that you do, your primary, your dash, your combos, they're all most effective 10 to 15 meters. Keep that in mind. It is close. Even go in the range and check it. Get a feel for that area. It is close range. So when you go for your assassinations, you want all of your cooldowns available. When they're all available, you have more options. You have more lethality. You have different ways to get in and get out. So a common play flow for Psylocke, and I'm going to bring up a clip from earlier. I went stealth. I found my target. I deleted him. I dashed to get out of the open. But I stayed there. I just landed primary shots onto the front line. Poke, chip, and this is to get my cooldowns back. And once I have them back, I can go on another assassination adventure. Find another, down them, kind of resituate with my team, or if I'm in the back line, kind of wait it out, take the poke shots, get the cooldowns back, do it again. But that's a really common loop with Psylocke. Assassinate a main target, just start putting in damage to get those cooldowns back, then you start being stealthy again. You weave through the map, use cover, take off angles, look for windows to get in, burst, get out. In the in-between, get your cooldowns back from poke. And as we discussed, her biggest strength is the ability to pressure the back line. So you use your stealth, you reposition, try to be unseen, catch them by surprise, get close, drop the shurikens, do the combos, the dashes, all of it. When you commit, you are committed, so do it with purpose. And it's good to always have your cooldowns, that way you have your exit strategy, your exit plan, and that's going to be a dash away. When it comes to team fights, if you tunnel vision, you're only going to do that on key targets. Supports and problematic DPS. Otherwise, you're getting your cooldowns back. During that, you can launch on one target, recall on another. You can chip multiple enemies, kind of force a little bit of pressure. You're not always going for those kills. Sometimes you're just kind of softening things up a little bit. And if someone gets close, then you can tunnel vision on them and do your full combo and take them out. But the whole time really in those team fights is you're farming up your cooldowns quickly. Because with Psylocke, the aim matters, and what's nice, body shots are consistent and they're fast. Headshots are a bonus, but you always need to be hitting something to keep those cooldowns flowing. That said, if you just run in and start spamming everything, when I say spam everything, I'm specifically talking about the winged shurikens, especially the winged shurikens. If you do it like that, you're not going to get the full damage out of your combos, and she's going to feel weaker than she should. You're not using her at her full potential. Make sure you have that little pause. Make sure you don't cut off any volleys from your primary attack. And with everything that we've talked about, you play her with calculated aggression. She's one of the scariest threats in the game. And I hope this guide armed you with that information and you start having great games with her. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Let's talk about Psylocke down below. And of course, add any tips that you have. Help each other out. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.